We provide adoption services and care for homeless animals across the New Orleans metro area. We also offer pet supplies and grooming services at our downtown American.
All right, New Orleans, welcome. Post-debate analysis show. This is Jack Clegg and Jeff Couer. Where's Jeff Couer?
Okay, we should have had an opening. I don't know what happened to the opening. So anyway, it's good to be with you folks right here on WGSO, and we'll be analyzing and, of course, discussing, and we'll be inviting and encouraging your phone calls to come join us, 504-556-9696. You can also email us at jeff@wgso.com. They are still at it, still going on with the debate. There's people calling in right now. Mr. Jack, you can go ahead and pick up those lines, sir. And pick up the phones if you don't mind.
Hi.
So anyway, Jack, what are your thoughts so far?
Well, I'm delighted. I think Trump did a really good job. And I wrote a lot of notes. He is a classic entertainer. He threw some lines in that had myself and Jack, the producer, laughing out loud. And all of them mocked Biden and Harris. I thought one of the best lines was Harris tried to, I think, score some points by saying there were a lot of people in the former Trump administration that didn't like him, and they wrote books about it. And Trump managed to turn that around beautifully. And he said, well, the problem with you guys is you don't fire anybody. So that's why nobody writes any books about you. It was hilarious. It was great. So what did you think, Jeff?
I thought it was, more even than the last one. I thought she did a much better job than Joe Biden. I thought she was well coached. She seems to have gotten through a lot of prepared lines. I do think Trump got some zingers in. He had a little bit of comedy here and there, which I thought was good. I don't like the moderators. I don't like.
Oh, they were horrible.
I don't like their style. I don't like the questions. I knew it was going to be biased, and it was biased, and much worse than CNN.
It was.
They're still going at it, but there's supposed to be 2 commercial breaks. I think there was only one, Jack.
There was only one, and I know at the end, the flip of the coin, Trump has a final statement. And as I'm looking at the television now, I can't hear it, but they're still debating, I guess, and we'll get to that. But I was impressed by Trump. I really thought that a younger person, more active, would be able to turn him, but she didn't turn him once. She was trying to bait him. Oh my gosh, the personal slander to him. Now he was a name caller, but it's really funny when someone calls you names and then says you're the name caller. So I thought that was kind of funny. We're getting some callers. You want to take callers now, or do you want to wait until?
Let's discuss it a little bit, and then we'll get to some calls at 504-556-9696. I can hear Jack over the air. So
yes.
That's okay.
We've got a couple.
But we obviously have high stakes. This was I think very, very important, influential. Coming after the last one, you had obviously the Democrats wanting not to have another debacle. I don't think it was anywhere near as bad as obviously Joe Biden did. So I think it was more of a draw. And I think both are going to probably come out of here claiming they did well. Jack, that's my prediction.
What all the experts say, of course, and what they've been saying for the last year is this is all about abortion, and this is all about the women's vote. I thought, now again, I'm not a woman, so this issue is different for me than it is for them. I understand, but I thought his answer that now it is with the states to decide was fair. And I don't understand the idea uh, that, okay, if you live in a state that opposes abortion and even makes it criminal, that in America you're free to leave, you're free to go elsewhere. I don't quite understand the problem. Um, Somebody wants one rule and one rule alone, and that is that all abortions are legal. And to me, and we were talking earlier about the moderators, they chose that to be the second topic to discuss tonight. Um,
Yeah, you notice they got in abortion, they
Yeah.
got in election denial, they
Yes,
got in
yes.
race,
they got
they
in
got
January
in
6th.
January 6th.
Yeah.
Could they have gotten in anything else that the Democrats wanted? And then Afghanistan was sort of sloughed off, didn't really have the kind of attention it should have.
The one point, and if I could go and say the most critical thing, and it was done intentionally, was the question about Hamas and Israel. They call it the Hamas-Israel war. No, this is not a war. She mentioned all the various aspects that took place on October 7th, except she omitted one: the taking of over 200 hostages to use as human shields
Right.
so no one could retaliate. That, to me, that was the biggest thing. I mean, countries fight and they do different things, and attacking civilians is never allowed. Hamas did that, attack civilians. But then the taking of American hostages, no one ever asked, well, what has America done when its citizens are hostages in Gaza? What? No one asked. And she didn't say. She completely omitted it. And to me, that's one of the biggest problems. And that's why they can't have a ceasefire.
Yeah, he could have articulated it in such a way that it could have been just a home run because, obviously we had peace when he was president.
Right.
Vladimir Putin invaded no countries. Hamas invaded no countries. Iran was broke. So, I mean, he had such a.
We didn't have
great,
American students. We didn't have American
Right.
college students terrorizing Jewish students. We didn't have that. You're right.
Yeah. And, he talked about it, of course, and said that they are to blame for what happened. And obviously they are, because it wouldn't have happened when Donald Trump was president. She tried to claim that all the foreign leaders are embarrassed by him. And I think just the opposite. I think the
you're right,
foreign
Jeff.
leaders are embarrassed by a guy who's cognitively deficient and is obviously unable to articulate, unable to advocate for the country, unable to negotiate. And, she claims that I'm not Joe Biden. Well, she wouldn't be there without Joe Biden, would she?
Not at all. And for a double reason, well, okay, he chose her, and he, without saying it, he told America that this is a DEI hire. Okay, and I'm not saying DEI hires are bad, but essentially he said this is one. So I promised I would have a woman and a black woman, and that's what he got. And so to me, that's it. One of the things I was hoping they would touch on tonight, and as they're still talking right now, but one of the things I was hoping they would talk about, because I really want to understand this. Okay, all night long she's been saying how Trump is the one who's dividing the country and so forth and so on. Okay, fine. Okay. Biden has changed Title IX. Now, I remember going to LSU. I wrestled at LSU, and I remember graduating and leaving. 3 years later, Title IX came along, and LSU dropped its wrestling. Why? Because they had to give women's sports the number of scholarships that were necessary. So it didn't look like they were discriminating against women. Okay. There were a lot of people who had bad feelings, but everyone understood. All right, but women should have women's sports, and that should work. Okay. Biden's administration has changed the language in Title IX. It's now, it was very clear. You cannot discriminate against women in college sports. It was real clear. Okay. All colleges had to do that. Now they've eliminated the language of discriminating against women. Now you can't discriminate against genders, which allows men who pretend to be women to compete against women.
Yeah.
State after state after state is saying we're not bound by Title IX. We're not going to do it. It is a colossal cluster. It's not working because the idea, and I wish they had talked about that tonight. I want her to say why you can discriminate against women and kill women's sports. This is what's going to happen if you let men who pretend to be women compete against women.
I mean, there's so many opportunities. He could have pounded that. That is a very popular issue. His side of it.
Yeah.
They're promoting this transgender nonsense is very unpopular. He did talk about some of the late-term abortions, which I think the American people do not approve of.
Right.
But here's some of the analysis that I'm reading online, Jack. Some people are saying that it was a 3-on-1 debate. The moderators team up with Harris to debate Trump. ABC Disney tries to take out Trump.
Yeah.
Soundbite tsunami. Harris unloads barrage of canned lines.
Yeah.
Trump mocks with the run spot run.
I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah. She spreads hoax after hoax.
Yeah.
She evades on late-term abortion, gun buybacks, fracking, etc. Trump did call her a Marxist. And Kamala can't say that we're better off than 4 years ago. Trump hammers on inflation. So these are some of the headlines. And then, of course, she falsely made the comment about Charlottesville again, falsely made the comment about Project 2025 again. The moderators fact-check Trump, but they don't fact-check her. I think that's a big deal when you go into a debate and people say, oh, no big deal. He'll debate anywhere, anytime. I think it's a big deal when you go into a debate with biased moderators, biased rules, biased network. I just don't think that is fair. And I've felt that from the very beginning. Republicans never get a fair shake. They always have to go into debates on liberal networks. And I think they got to stop doing that because it really puts their candidates at a disadvantage.
Well, and that in a good world, that would be the way it is. We're not in a good world. We have the media is controlled by an ideology that you and I understand, but we don't particularly follow. And when you were reading a variety of comments. The first one, it was 3 against 1. Okay. Whoever that was, that's brilliant because that's what it was. Both the male David whatever and the female, I forget what her name is. David Muir and but the female, boy, did she have an edge to her. She had an edge, and you could tell.
We knew it, Jack. We knew it going in. But these people were biased.
The brilliance, though, the brilliance of Trump agreeing to this is he knows the American people see it.
Do they? Do they? I wonder. I wonder if enough Americans do see it. I wonder if enough Americans realize the bias of the mainstream news media. I think some do. I think he has enlightened some about fake news. Remember, he popularized.
Oh gosh, yeah, he coined the term.
But it just frustrates me. It's been a pet peeve of mine for years. The Republicans always had this kind of deal that they have to go through, where it's always Chris Wallace, Anderson Cooper. I mean, you never have Sean Hannity as a moderator. You never have someone like Mark Levin, who's on our station. By the way, hopes for a speedy recovery. He hurt his leg.
Oh, he did.
And he's going to be out for a while. Yeah. So let's get some of these calls in, and then we'll encourage more to join us at 504-556-9696. first in line this evening, our friend Matthew in Metairie. How are you this evening, my friend? Good evening.
Good evening. So, you forgot one. They did call him a Nazi by associating him with those tiki torch carrying fellows.
That's correct.
Yeah, those were obviously Nazis
Charlottesville.
because, well,
Yeah,
Charlottesville, yeah. Because after all, the media called them Nazis, therefore they're Nazis.
Right.
Overall, I think she did better than the expectations that some people had for her. My wife thought she came across well. And she looked happy to be there, and Donald Trump looked pissed off. Just his facial expression. Now, he probably wasn't pissed off, but he did not, look like he was as happy as she did. I'm like, okay, I guess, maybe, perhaps. Yeah,
Your
but
wife
nonetheless,
is sort of a middle of the road voter, Matthew, or left wing,
yeah,
or how
she's
would
one
you
of those people
characterize
that you
your wife?
need to win over.
She's independent, in the middle,
Yes.
moderate. Okay.
Right.
Now, was she swayed by the debate to support Harris now?
No, I don't think so, because she, she's married to me, and we make our living from the oil industry.
Okay. Well, I mean, I just was wondering because you said she seemed so happy. I was just wondering if she thought she won the debate. So
She was just wondering why
Okay.
Donald Trump couldn't smile, and I was thinking to myself, is that important? I don't know.
well, I mean, I wouldn't
but-
be able to smile after being abused for 9 years by these people, and having to survive a shot to the head. I don't know if I'd be too happy.
Well, this is Jack. Let me weigh in on one thing. And we noticed it here while I was watching it, that Trump didn't have the smile. And I wonder if that was intentional. When did Trump get the biggest bump in his popularity in 2024? Or was it 2023, I think it was.
I think it was when he was first indicted, wasn't it?
His mugshot.
Yes.
And that face you saw tonight was the mugshot. And I'm thinking, yes. And there were many, many other comments that were made, and he had that same look on his face. And I wonder if this was intentional. He's serious about it. Now, she said, and I think it was probably the most telling, she said, I am the new generation. Okay? Yeah. This is the new generation. And the question
well,
is...
the new generation has some questions about her.
And they do. Those who read and know what's going on, they have lots of big questions about it. So
yeah, those who notice things.
Right.
And I think a lot more people are noticing. But, Jeff, you're never going to get from any of the sources that you pay attention to that people are noticing.
Well,
because
I look at a variety of sources, and I watch CNN. I go to liberal sites. I certainly go to
and you'll never
sites.
get them to admit that people are noticing.
I get lots of different input. Okay. Well, I'm just curious.
I get my inputs mostly from independent content creators like Sticks and Hammer, and you, for that matter.
Okay. Well, I consider myself an independent content creator too.
Matthew,
so
I want to thank you for calling in. Matthew, thank you for calling in.
One last question before I go.
Go ahead.
What's the station looking like tomorrow?
I will be on in the morning from 7 to 9, and then we're going to do weather coverage after that. So we're hoping to be back. Okay, thank you, sir.
I'll talk to y'all in the morning.
All right.
Well,
yes, sir.
Y'all have a great night.
You. Thank you,
so
Matthew.
we're hoping, we're hoping to get back to regular programming on Thursday. We'll just have to see what happens with the storm.
Well, the Hurricane Francine issue, Matthew called my show earlier this morning from Homa, and it was silent. Usually when he calls from Homa, you hear a lot of machinery in the background and so forth. It was silent. And I said, Matthew, what's going on there? They're making us leave for the hurricane. He was upset.
Yeah, and a lot of a lot of employers did that, and a lot of employers are off tomorrow, and obviously schools.
Exactly.
And we'll see about Thursday, and we hope for the best. We hope that it's going to be minimal impact. We'll just have to hunker down. All right. 504-556-9696. We'll let Jack in the producer's booth get the next call, and then we'll get back to
Okay.
some of these calls.
Who do we have now?
Let's get back to just a little coverage before we take another call here. I do want to ask you this, Jack. Who do you think gets the biggest bump in the polls from this debate? Because right now they're pretty much tied. So how do you think this is going to impact the polls?
Well, tomorrow, I think there'll be an impact from in favor of Kamala. She smiled more. That's it. And this will be the reflexive opinion of people like, and I don't mean to denigrate her at all, but Matthew's wife. Yeah, I mean, and people look at that, and we saw it here.
Right.
As the days continue, that's going to go. The moment
now, I from my point of view, just looking, I mean, just superficial.
Mhm.
So maybe she smiled more, and she looked good. I mean, she looked like she had on, professional outfit. She looked, pretty. She looked like she had, she was put together. Trump looked good. I mean, he was, decked out. So I think they both made a good presentation. Remember the last debate, Joe Biden looked like death warmed over.
Sure.
I mean, he
sure.
looked like he had been in a cave for about 3 months.
But he was able
And
to
then he
defeat Medicare, though. Remember?
And then he could barely even get any words out because he was so hoarse.
Right.
So she came off a lot more energetic and obviously looking better than concretely.
Well, as we will see when people play this, one thing I noticed, and what she did do was what she was told to do.
Yeah.
This was not natural. This is what she was told to do. Many of her answers, you could tell these were canned answers, and that's fine. That's good. But during the entire debate, she was constantly looking at Trump. She was trying to bait him the entire time. And it was several times. Trump looked ahead. He looked at the questioners. He didn't get caught in the trap of a tit for tat, childish fight with her, which is what she wanted to do. From that perspective, the discipline that Trump showed, I think in the days ahead.
I did love a few of his zingers, and I love the fact that he said to her a few times, I'm speaking speaking when she
right. That's her line.
She interrupted him. So he turned her line around on her. So I like that. All right, let's go to our friend from the Buckeye State, the great state of Ohio, from the Queen City. Cash Money joining us this evening from the great city of Cincinnati, Ohio.
Wonderful.
Hey, Cash, what's going on?
How are you, Jeff? How are you, Jack?
I'm well. Thank you.
Kamala there. She reminded me of Nellie Olson of the Little House on the Prairie, condescending little child on the playground, and it was just ridiculous to me. But I knew that was coming. Facial expressions, Trump basically is losing patience with the idiotic. He really is. He's not even focused on, it doesn't matter how he looks. America knows who Trump is. And when he got a chance to talk, but really what irritated me most, I mean, how could I even finish watching the whole thing, was her lies. It was lie after lie. The 2025 thing she mentioned a couple times, and, the lies. But the biggest lie, and here's what I love about your show, is I know that they listen for the recourse. They have to plan for the future. And what you don't seem to understand, and there's so much evidence that the 2020 election was stolen. Yeah. You people are treasonous. You have committed a coup upon America. And then you did another coup against
you know what,
Biden.
Guys? I was glad he didn't back down from that. I was glad he said yes. The 2020 election was stolen. He didn't back down from January 6th.
His answer as a former lawyer,
January 6th.
His answer was, and to, I think, David Muir, said, and you lost 60 cases. He said, not on the merits. We were knocked out due to standing, which is absolutely, and it was absolutely true. And it is true.
It is true. The evidence is there, and they're ignoring us for years. And to go on national TV for a debate and still peddle the lies, here's what I know. Even Christians, Americans in this country stared at this TV, and they were cussing. They were cussing.
Yeah.
Because they know they're living this. Grocery prices beyond belief. All costs are beyond belief. All these foreigners. And just lie after lie after lie.
He came back to that issue time and time again.
But
he also went there as far as the Springfield, Ohio issue about the Haitians eating the animals. And then David Moore says, oh, that's not true. We've talked to people there. That's not happening.
And I told you today that our governor, who I believe is a rhino anyway, this is an explosion. He is stepping in. He has told Springfield that we're going to come in and assist you with all these problems. And that was through our local news here in Cincinnati today.
How are they going to get rid of the 20,000 Haitians that have moved in there? How are they going to do that?
See, that's why I said on Jeff's show that I need Springfield residents to watch for the buses starting to ship them out before the news cycle hits this hard. Because I look
and
for
how
Ben
did all the
Berghoff
Haitians? How did all the Haitians wind up in Springfield, Ohio? You know, how did all the Venezuelans? How did all the Venezuelans wind up in Aurora, Colorado? I mean, what are they doing to small town America? What are they doing to these areas of our country?
You've had my police chief on your air, and he has managed just to keep. There's two here that we know of, and they've been here for over a year and a half or two, and that's it. I mean, when you have a tight-knit community, locals can watch out and stop this from coming in. Why didn't Springfield police?
Great call, Cash Money. Great call.
We're up against it, my friend. But we appreciate you. You always have good inputs and great insights. We thank you. All right, this is the post-debate analysis show. Jeff Career here, Jack Clegg with us. We want more of your phone calls when we come back. 504-556-9696 to join us. We're going to get a news update. We'll be right back.
Negative news got you down? Tune in at 4 o'clock on Thursdays and turn your life around. Only good vibes on WGSO 990 AM.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Tasha Stevens.
With SRN News, I'm Bernie Bennett in Washington. Former President Trump asked Vice President Harris if she bore any responsibility for the failed withdrawal from Afghanistan, where 13 service members were killed, as a presidential debate in Philadelphia was coming to a close. He also asked about the whereabouts of President Biden, who Trump says has been conspicuously absent since bowing out of the presidential race. ABC News moderator Lindsay Davis asked the former president if he bore any responsibility for the attack on the U.S. Capitol on January 6th of 2021. Mr. Trump asked when will the thousands of criminal migrants allowed into the country by the president and vice president be prosecuted. The debate between Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris ended this hour. I'm Bernie Bennett in Washington. Now with more news, here's Tasha Stevens.
Thanks, Bernie. A suspect is in custody after a teenager was hurt in a shooting at a Nebraska high school.
Families rushed to Omaha Northwest High School after the shooting was reported by the school resource officer during lunch. Omaha Police Deputy Chief Sherry Thomas said officers quickly responded to the school and found the victim inside. Thomas said police believe the shooting was an isolated incident between two students. The suspect was arrested about half an hour later. Students started to reunite with their families later in the day, but the release is a slow process. Thomas said a 15-year-old was critically injured in the shooting and rushed to the hospital. I'm Haya Panjwani.
As Hurricane Francine barrels towards the Louisiana coast, residents making last-minute preparations, such as filling up sandbags, buying gas, and stocking up on necessities as they face a storm that's now a Category 1. Governor Jeff Landry said midday Tuesday that South Louisiana residents have about a 24-hour window to batten down all the hatches. Americans using more wireless data, just over 100 trillion megabytes last year. More at townhall.com.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that is MediShare. And maybe you've heard switching to MediShare to pay for healthcare can save many families up to $500 a month, and that's huge. But it's also true people are way more satisfied after making the switch too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. Medishare works too. It's been around for 30 years. Members have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. See what you can save. This is a very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. Call 844-41-BIBLE. That's 844-41-BIBLE, 844-41-BIBLE.
The House is moving ahead with a bill that would require voters to provide proof of citizenship before being allowed to cast their ballots.
House Speaker Mike Johnson is betting he can muster enough support from within his own ranks to pass the bill that combines a continuing resolution with the Safeguard American Voter Eligibility, or SAVE Act. He faces some opposition from a handful of Republicans, but confidently told reporters, quote, "We're going to pass the SAVE Act and the CR together, and we're going to move that through the process." The bill was scheduled to face a procedural vote on Tuesday before advancing to a final vote in the House on Wednesday. Bob Agnew reporting.
U.S. Representative Joe Wilson is hospitalized after collapsing at an event in Washington, D.C. The state reports the South Carolina Republican was taken to an area hospital but had no other information on the 77-year-old's condition. Wilson, who represents South Carolina's 2nd District, serves on the House Foreign Affairs Committee. News and analysis at townhall.com. 2 planes are damaged in a taxiway accident at Atlanta's airport.
The wing of a large Airbus A350 jet bound for Tokyo hit a smaller plane operated by Delta subsidiary Endeavor Air headed to Lafayette, Louisiana, and caused visible damage. Passenger Jason Adams is a meteorologist with WFTS. He was headed to cover tropical weather. Adams says the collision sounded like jarring metal scraping sounds, then loud bangs. He posted pictures of the tail of the smaller plane knocked sideways and laying on the taxiway. Delta says the passengers were rebooked and no injuries or fire were reported. I'm Jennifer King.
A little over 2 months until Thanksgiving, but Nickelodeon is already gearing up for the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. One of their new balloons will be of the firefighter Dalmatian pup Marshall from the popular Paw Patrol series. They'll debut 2 new balloons at this year's parade. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Welcome to WGSO's special coverage of the 2024 presidential debates. We now go live to WGSO personalities Jeff Crouere and Jack Clegg.
All right. Thank you, BJ. And thank you for joining us for our special coverage. I was at the Pelican State Pachyderm event and I was telling everybody to join in and call us. And a lot said they were going to be listening and calling in. So we have a full call board right now. We want to get to everyone. And Jack, do you have any comments before we take some more calls?
Well, one question that they didn't ask and they didn't talk about is a huge issue right now. It's a massive issue. And it's whether or not the government is going to close on October 1st. Our Speaker Johnson, has tied it all to the SAVE Act, in which, as you know, the Republicans in Congress do not want people to vote unless they can prove they are U.S. citizens. I fully understand that. I fully support that. And the Democrats don't like that. So we're facing a government shutdown on October 1 if Johnson stays. And the reason I bring it up is that would have been a great question to ask these 2 people. It would have been a fabulous question.
The SAVE Act,
yeah.
The SAVE Act, the government shutdown. I say let it shut down, Jack. Let it shut down. Stand firm on the SAVE Act. So we'll see what happens. Johnson's been weak-kneed.
Well, he
So
starts
needs to
off
grow a
strong,
backbone.
but he starts off strong, but he does. What's
He
the word?
caves.
He caves.
He
Yes, he
caves.
does.
He folds.
And I like him. He's a smart
He
guy,
melts.
but he does melt. I know.
Yeah, and I mean, who knows why, Jack? Who knows why? Who knows?
He doesn't listen to WGSO enough. I think that's the answer.
Right. Well, that's where people can get their information
Yes,
and get their
yes.
courage, because they'll hear from a lot of great people, including our next caller, who happens to be my wife.
Oh.
My co-host for He Said, She Said. We're not going to be probably airing our show tomorrow because of storm coverage. So she wanted to get in and make a comment here about the debate. She was taking notes, watching it diligently. Ms. Mimi Cruaire is with us here on the hotline. All right, Miss Mimi, what you got?
Hey. Good evening, everyone. As far as the comments that y'all just made, I feel like maybe Johnson is trying to sneak in a CR, which he knows all Republicans hate,
Right.
by putting the SAVE Act on it. Because no one wants a CR. But, oh, wait, let's put the SAVE Act on it, which could not take effect 60 days before an election. It makes no difference. We already have laws to get the CR. Okay, so there's that. Now, to the debate.
Yes.
Kamala overperformed. She did. All right. Kami Kala overperformed. And we all knew she would. But I want to know, where was Kami the last 3.5 years? Where was she with this personality? Why would she sit with foreign leaders and giggle and say, you go first? When they ask her a question, you go first. What? Where was this woman?
I'll tell you, Mimi. I'll tell you. She's been reprogrammed. She has gotten the cackle out. If you notice, she hasn't been cackling. So she's got a whole
She
new
wanted
persona.
to, though. It's Scarface.
She
Whole
wanted
new
to.
persona. Whole new persona. Yes. So that's what we got. That's what we got with Kami Kamalia. But
Well, it's the
who do
same.
you think-
It's the same.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's the same with Waltz. It's the same with the vice presidential candidate. Waltz is trying to hide. Both of them are trying to hide from their past. And
I loved Trump's comment about walls. I loved it.
it was outstanding. But
Yeah.
Mimi is right that Kamala, she looked good. We're all going to say that she looked good.
She
But this
sounded
is
good.
but this is serious stuff. And
But she lied. She's a liar.
well,
She's a liar. And she's
Oh,
a
she
dangerous
lied
radical.
repeatedly.
And you know what, guys? The moderators didn't fact check her. They didn't fact check her.
No, that was not.
Because it was a 3-on-1 debate. And that's what's the problem. Kamala, the report's coming out right now. Kamala wants Kamala wants another debate.
No.
I say Trump say
No.
Fox News or nothing. That's got to be I would say Fox News.
Well,
or nothing.
WGSO will host it. We'll host it. We'll do it here.
Right. We'll do it.
Yeah. But you're right. Are you saying that now that it's over, she is now demanding another debate?
She wants another debate.
This is great.
She wants another debate.
And that tells
So-
you what she knows. She failed.
And
She
I would tell
failed.
her Fox News or
No,
nothing.
wait. You think they want another debate because they think she failed? I think, you know, the ego of the left. They think she won. They want every opportunity to make him look stupid. They think he looks stupid. The rest of us think he looks like a king.
Yeah. They, I think if they thought that she won so handily, I don't know if they would want another debate. I think the fact that they won another debate shows that they think they still have to make up ground. So, anyway, all right, Mimi. Any final words before we get to some more calls? Any final words of wisdom from you, my dear?
Yes. Vote. The reason Trump is there is for deep state, and the deep state is into, you know, my husband, child trafficking and trafficking of everything else. And when he takes out the trafficking, they all fall because that is their money, dark money. So sorry, I got off on it, but you know what I think, babe.
And Trump
You
made
know.
a video. Trump made a video on that very topic. I played it on the air this morning. So He
right,
talked
good.
about it in a video. All right, thank you, my dear. Thank
All
you.
right,
That's
y'all.
Mimi Pruer, my co-host for He Said, She Said. You can check that out Wednesdays at 6, but not tomorrow due to storm coverage. Let's go to Rusty, who's with us in Jefferson. Hey, Rusty, how are you? Good evening. Good evening.
Very well. I hope you guys well tomorrow with the hurricane.
Thank you.
Listen, I have to challenge you guys. This is not a beauty contest. This is not how much you smile. This is serious business. Trump showed a serious face. He knew he was in a terrible place with 3 people that made up stories, 2 in the media, 1 Kamala. But if getting to be president means you put on a giggling smile, then our country's doomed. And if that's what the headlines are going to be tomorrow, then our country's doomed. I have to admit something to you guys. The last time you guys did this show, the debate with Biden and Trump, I didn't listen to the last comments because you guys came on a little early. And the debate wasn't completely over. But I had the radio on and I listened to Mr. Trump, last few words. And he brought up again that one issue alone probably is bigger than any other, and that's the border.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And if this people in this United States don't see the seriousness of this situation, he claims it could be over 20, 21 million. And if the people in this country don't see that, how they didn't want to focus on that issue too much tonight.
Right.
But he always does. Trump, every rally that I've seen, Trump focuses on that all the time. And I'm just hoping that some kind of way resonates with the people of this country, that our country's being taken over and by illegals, foreigners, possible, more than likely terrorists. And I just hope that some kind of way people see through this, because she was part of that administration that allowed this and perpetuated.
And he put the finger blame on her, and you're right, Rusty. He brought it up time and time again. He weaved it into all kinds of answers, and I thought it was good because it is the number 2 issue in the country after the economy. And you weave it in as often as you can, and it's connected to the bad economy. Is connected to the fact that we have millions of illegals here.
That's what I was
So
just
he
going
made
to say.
that point too.
Jeff, really good point, because the first question he was asked was the economy. And he said a few things about it, but then he immediately talked about immigration. And he made the comment right then, it was the first issue, that immigration affects the economy. It does. It's huge.
Sure.
What he didn't say, and he was saying that people are losing jobs. And I noticed she snickered at that. But what he didn't say, and I wish someone would remind him, of all the federal money sent to city after city after city, all the state money spent in city after city after city for rent, for food, for everything for these people. And what, okay, I understand investing, but these people that are here have not been determined to be citizens yet. They're all waiting for trial dates.
Well, they shouldn't be
so
here.
we're investing
They
all
should
this
not be
money
here.
and we won't get a return. That's my point.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's an economic angle, but there's a national security angle.
That too, of course.
There's the crime and the drugs and also the education system.
I think he did a good job on the crime. I think he did over and over hit the crime issue, and she had nothing to say about that.
Well, of course. She did a lot of mean attacks against him, a lot of disparaging insults, and she was prepared with all that. She had all her little talking points she worked in.
But
and,
as Rusty said, the adults need to talk about this, and he did. He acted as an adult.
Yes.
She acted like a 15-year-old girl.
Yeah.
Rusty, any final comments, sir?
Well, pretty much what Jack just said. I'm just glad he keeps bringing that issue up. And like you said, Jeff, I think she's been reprogrammed. I think
she
might have said it. She was programmed one way for 3.5 years. In the last few weeks, she's been programmed another way. And as far as I'm concerned, I thought I could see that clearly. She's been reprogrammed.
And she's as phony as a $3 bill.
Yes,
because
she
you know,
is.
the woman
She
out
is.
there is not the real Kamala. She doesn't have
Right.
the same policies as the same woman that we've seen for years. They're
No.
trying to. They did a switcheroo, and Trump pointed this out again too.
Mhm.
Guy won 14 million votes.
Right,
He's
right.
gone.
Right.
Now this
Enough.
woman who won no votes is the nominee.
Right.
Where's Joe? What's Joe doing? Wake him up. I mean, he did have some good comedy about Joe. But anyway, all right, my friend. Thank you, Rusty.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Take care, my friend. 504-556-9696. Come join us. We'd love to hear from you. Get your view on the debates. And right now, we're getting lots of interesting feedback. Jack, lots of good comments from folks.
Outstanding. And what's great is you and I might have our thoughts on it. I love what the callers have to say because they hone in on things that are there. And I don't see all the things. When Rusty made his comment about this is for adults, you know, it's true. That's a big overarching issue here. And she was pleasant and nice or mean, and mean in a feminine way.
I thought you were sort of nasty.
Yes.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I think having this program and allowing people to share what they saw is really, really helpful.
Right.
Good
And
feedback.
I'm glad we're doing it. I'm glad you're partnering with me. I'm glad we have Mr. Jack at the controls. And of course, we're getting some more input. Let's go. 504-556-9696. Our good friend, I saw her tonight at the event, at the Pelican State Pachyderm Club event. Mrs. Snowball is with us.
Oh.
How are you, Mrs. Snowball?
Yeah, yes. Just real quickly, Cash Money, I agree with him about the smile, and I kind of wish Trump would smile a little bit more. But just after you left, Kamala said to Trump that people leave his rallies.
Mm-hmm.
And Trump replied, well, at least I have people that I get people to the rallies. And no, they don't leave, but you don't even get can't get enough people to get in a rally.
You know, and he said he said that she buses them in and
pays them.
She does. And he also should have said she needs rap stars there to get anybody to come to her rallies. And she's brought in all these musicians to attract people in. Because who wants to see her and this goofball Tim Walz? I mean, I don't know. And he calls people weird, and he calls other people weird.
Yeah,
This guy's the
I
weirdest
agree.
of the weird I've ever seen, Mrs. Snowball.
Yeah.
He's so weird.
But keep in mind one thing, she did actually tell the truth once during the whole time that I heard. And that was when she said over 2 or 3 times that she was for the 2-state solution.
Oh gosh, yes. Yes. That was exactly, and she, as I said earlier, and what I think is the most critical thing about the Israeli Hamas battle is the savagery of Hamas. You don't take civilians, put them in tunnels, and say, see, what are you going to do now?
Right.
If you don't have a leader like Netanyahu who has courage to look past that and say, we're not going to let that stop us. We keep demanding a ceasefire. And you know why the ceasefire isn't going through? I've read several articles about this. The Hamas leaders are demanding amnesty. They want amnesty because they know, and we know from the news, the Israelis don't care where you are. You can be in downtown Tehran and they'll get you.
Well, and they've gotten a number of these Hamas leaders.
Yes.
And I say, kudos to them.
Absolutely.
I mean, the Israelis know how to go after their enemies.
And well, let's
do a
say
good job.
recently, who's the guy who started?
My solution would be let's just let Israel take care of their business.
Well,
let Israel take out Hamas. Take them out, Israel. Go for it. That would be my solution.
I was going to mention this. As we're giving Netanyahu and the Israelis credit for the recent killings of the Hamas bad guys, who started that recently? Wasn't
that's
this what
it.
Trump did?
Mm-hmm.
This is precisely what Trump did, and
Yeah, he
it
got
works.
rid of Al-Baghdadi.
Yes.
He got rid of Soleimani.
Exactly.
And,
Exactly.
you know,
That's
who
what
have
a leader
Biden and
does.
Harris gotten? Who has Biden and Harris gotten rid of?
Biden.
So, right, they got rid of Biden. All right, Mrs. Snowball, any final comments?
Yeah, just one quick thing because it's the really most important thing, and that is that they always say whoever wins Pennsylvania wins. And the majority of the people who make a living in Pennsylvania, it's related to fracking, it's related to oil. And that's why she flip-flopped on her opinion about, and if anybody can't see that in Pennsylvania, I know they can see that she's flip-flopped on that. And that's the only reason she's saying that she's suddenly for fracking. Because
And
she
Trump
knows
hit her.
if she doesn't get Pennsylvania, she loses.
Trump hit her on that, and you're right. She's flip-flopped on that. She's flip-flopped on at least 10 issues. And, you know, she's trying to perpetuate a fraud on the American people. I mean, it's a fraud, and we can't let her get away with it. She's lying. She's a skilled liar. I'll give her that.
Good point.
All right, Mrs. Snowball. Thank you. Appreciate you. Hey, come join us. Yeah, take care. 504-556-9696. Let's go way up north to the Gopher State, the great state of Minnesota. And let's say hello to our friend, our good friend, Miss Sandy is with us here this evening. Hey, Miss Sandy, what's going on?
Good evening, Jack and Jeff.
Hello.
I watched the debate. I agree with Cash Money. She is Nellie Olson, which they're from our state.
Yes, they are.
She's a yeah. They tried the race bait, and if you noticed how oversighted that they were, they would sit there and say stuff like, well, now they turned to her in their smug outfits and looking, and they said, well, now, Madam Vice President, what would you say? So in other words, look at how bad he is. Don't you agree, Kamala, that he's bad?
Madam Vice President,
point?
what do you have to say to this terrible racist Donald Trump, who's made these racist comments about you, Madam Vice President? What do you say to that?
Well,
I've got to go ahead.
They're terrible.
This
Yeah,
was the
they're terrible.
as the comment was. This was the 3-on-1 debate,
Mm-hmm.
I think Jeff made the point earlier that when CNN did the debate, it was night and day. It was night and day. The choice of the questions. Who was the woman from Louisiana that gave the questions to Hillary Clinton? before?
Donna Brazile.
Donna Brazile, that's right, yes.
And now, interestingly, guys, she works for ABC.
Oh no!
So I think it was quite a good possibility that Kamala Harris got the questions from Donna Brazile. ABC's the worst of the networks. Disney is the worst. No conservatives should be sending their kids to Disney.
Right.
We shouldn't be giving them money and supporting them. They're a horrible network, a horrible company. So anyway, anything else, Miss Sandy? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do. I got really angered. I was watching Megyn Kelly afterwards on her commentary, and she had read what Taylor Swift had wrote. And it makes me angry. She says, I'll be casting my vote for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz in the presidential election. I'm trying to shorten it up. I'm voting for Kamala Harris because she fights for the right and causes I believe need a warrior to champion them. I think she's already steady-handed, gifted leader, and I believe we can accomplish so much more in this country if we are led by calm and not chaos. I was so heartened and so impressed by her selection of her running mate, Tim Walz, who's been standing up for LGBTQ rights, IVF, and a woman's right to her own body for decades. Okay, Swifties.
Well,
you
we know,
go ahead.
We know.
We live it. We live it here in Minnesota. People have fled this state to get out from underneath the communist terrorism of Tim Walz. Some of us have to stay because we have no choice, but would leave in a second. That man weaponized the National Guard against its own people and shot people and young kids with paintballs that could have been very dangerous, and told that as they shouted down the street, well, if that's what you want for America, you go right ahead and vote for it. But I don't pity one of you, and God have mercy for that. Cash Money was right. By the middle of the debate, and I told you I don't swear, and I let out one word, and I haven't said that in years.
Right. And you can't
couldn't
say it on the air.
stand it.
You can't say it on the air, Miss
Oh,
Sandy.
no.
All right. Well,
All right,
hey,
thanks,
thank you, my
guys.
dear. Thank you. Good to hear from you. And there were a lot of people at this debate party I was at, Jack, that were getting angry because of, the moderators and Kamala Harris and
Sure,
everything.
sure.
But, Donald Trump is in the spin room now. Kamala Harris looks like she's having an event. Both of them are claiming victory, as we figured that they would. Their surrogates
Sure.
are claiming victory.
Sure.
So now it's the big
but only
spin.
one
Who won?
side,
Who lost?
only one side. They're both claiming victory, but only one side wants another debate.
Yeah.
That's telling. That's
Yeah.
why I said before. They know she needs that other debate. He doesn't. He has a
Now-
record. We know what he's done. We like
Right.
him. and
Harris's campaign calling for a second presidential debate against Trump, saying, quote, "That was fun." So,
yeah. It was. She looked like she had a great time. Giggles had a good time on TV. I've got a break for a commercial break right now.
We'll take a brief time out. We got a little bit longer, and then we're going to go to a break. We're going to get a news update, and then we're going to come back for more right here on WGSO with our special post-debate coverage, our analysis show. Yours truly, Jeff Crouere, Jack Clegg with us. We want to hear from you. 504-556-9696 is the talk line for you to make your comments. We'll come right back, get more input. Keep it right here on WGSO. We'll be right back.
Louisiana Radio Network, I'm Andrew Greenstein. Francine is now a hurricane. The National Hurricane Center in its 7 o'clock advisory indicated that Francine's maximum sustained winds have increased to 75 miles an hour. That's just over the threshold to make it a Category 1 hurricane. Now, it's still slated to make landfall near Morgan City tomorrow late afternoon, but from there, the track has shifted a little more to the east, moving up South Louisiana between Baton Rouge and New Orleans. Now, throughout the day, the wind speed held steady at 65 miles an hour. National Weather Service meteorologist Hannah Lisney says you can credit dry air for that.
It's really been battling some dry air down there off the eastern coast of Texas there. And that dry air really has just been killing any of the convection.
Now, while Francine's forecasted path has been shifting to the east throughout the day, Lisney does not expect the track to significantly shift any further. Forecasters no longer expect Francine to grow to a Category 2 storm by the time it makes landfall. LRN.
Tiger fans, are you looking for the latest news on all things LSU? Then Tiger Rag Magazine is your go-to source. Whether you pick up the magazine or browse over to the website, Tiger Rag Magazine provides you with the most up-to-date information on all the sports, university, and recruiting news that matters to you. Find it at your local newsstand or online at tigerrag.com. Let's face it, we all know that the recruiting scene at LSU can get a little wild. Don't fret. Now more than ever, Tiger Rag Magazine is staying ahead of the game when it comes to name, image, likeness regulations. Thanks to our Tiger Rag Magazine experts and analysts, we can help you understand what it means to LSU and how you can stay informed on this rapidly changing landscape. Plus, our website makes it easy for fans to get their hands on all the information they need about LSU athletics. Get your subscriptions today. So if you're looking for in-depth coverage of everything LSU, look no further than Tiger Rag Magazine. Available on newsstands or online, tigerrag.com.
Plan for retirement online. Estimate your future benefits, apply for retirement, and manage your benefits all from the comfort of your home. And give yourself the freedom to do what you want offline. Social Security's online services help put you in control with secure access to your information anytime, anywhere. allowing you to spend more time with family, friends, or simply just enjoying the day. Social Security, securing today and tomorrow. See what you can do online at socialsecurity.gov.
What does grace mean to you? At Grace at the Green Light, a 501c3 nonprofit, we believe that everyone deserves a hot meal, clean drinking water, and the chance to go home again. Our work is made possible through the generous support of Christ Church Cathedral, the Cathedral Church of the Episcopal Diocese of Louisiana. Christ Church Cathedral acts in support of community renewal and socio-economic justice. Learn more at cccnola.org.
Hey, this is BJ Russ. Make sure you join me every Saturday night for the Something to Say radio show right here on WGSO 990 AM. We'll be on from 7 to 8 p.m. We'll talk sports, music, movies, and pretty much anything in between. Saturday nights at 7 p.m. on WGSO 990 AM. That's the place to be. And don't forget that you can listen to us on WGSO.com and on the Mixler app.
When the time came, I knew I had to find a place where Mom would be safe and active while still feeling independent. A place that was close to all of us and everything she needed. Locally owned and operated in the heart of Gonzales, I found Francois Benz Senior Living. They specialize in independent and assisted living and memory care.
Call 225-647-BEND for more information on our special pre-leasing offers.
Francois Benz Senior Living. Experience life as it should be.
Welcome back. It is the WGSO post-debate analysis show, and we want to hear from you guys. Yours truly, Jeff Cruere, with you. Jack Clegg joining us. Of course, you can check out Jack Tuesdays and Thursdays, 11 a.m. till 12, and hopefully we'll be back on, Jack.
I hope
on
so.
Thursday.
And we're. What is really interesting, this is a historic night for a couple of reasons. One, I think this will be the only debate. I hope it will, for Trump's victory. But the hurricane is on its way. So at least those people that are listening to the audio podcast, or maybe record the audio podcast,
right?
This is a big night, and it's important for Louisiana.
By the way,
go ahead.
I just saw Donald Trump in the spin room, and he was exiting,
Mm-hmm.
and they had a bunch of Secret Service agents around him as he was exiting. And I saw that same 5'2" woman
Oh my gosh!
who was part of his security detail following him out. And I'm
Yeah.
thinking, what is going on? You cannot protect a man. I'm sorry. I don't want to be disrespectful
know.
toward the ladies. I love the ladies. But you need someone who is going to be tall enough to protect him. She should not be on his security detail. I'm sorry. But she is. She was there in the spin room with Donald Trump.
I think I said it on the first show I had after the assassination attempt, that I consider myself a tough guy. I wrestled, I'm tough, but I'm only 5'8". Trump is 6'3". If you put me on his team, I could do some damage to someone, but I'm not going to stop a bullet unless I jump, a foot and a half. I can't do that. So it doesn't have to do with being a woman. It has to do with being tall.
Size.
Yes,
Size.
exactly.
Yes.
So you're
All
right.
Let's get to some of these calls. Got a lot of people that want to chime in. 504-556-9696 is our talk line. Let's go to the great state of Indiana, the Hoosier State. We bring on our friend Mark, who is with us here this evening. Hey, Mr. Mark. Good evening.
Good evening, Jeff and Jack. Nice to talk to you, Jack.
Sure. What part of Indiana are you from? My sister lives in Waldron.
Waldron?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not very far at all from Waldron.
Oh, great.
It's just on the other side of Columbus, right?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Yeah, I fish down there in Seymour a lot.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Yeah, my mom, as a matter of fact, lived in Waldron when she passed.
There you go. There you go. Well, how'd you like the debate tonight, Mark? How'd you like the debate?
Well, you guys were saying it was 3-on-1. If you watched the ABC pre-debate show, you would have saw it was 7-on-1 because from start to end, the 4 pundits on there every time they mentioned Trump, it was in a negative light, and every time they mentioned Kamala, it was in a positive light.
Yeah.
But can you guys enlighten me on anything? What did Kamala say in this debate other than projection about Trump going to make personal attacks and lie when that's all she said? What did she say? I mean, what did we learn about Kamala tonight? You guys go ahead and enlighten me on that.
Well,
I found nothing.
we learned that she can memorize some lines. We learned that she can suppress her cackle. We learned that she can take direction. So she tried to make it all about how Trump is disrespected internationally, is someone that is a threat to democracy, someone who hates our military. All the, Charlottesville, all the lies that we've heard from Biden, she just presented it in a similar way, maybe a more effective way, because she wasn't stumbling over words like Biden. So she's an effective liar. And
what about?
Well, I wanted to add.
Spewing lies.
I wanted to add two things she said. One, she's talking about helping people buy houses. Somehow she's going to come up with what is it, $125,000? Was it, or $25,000? $25,000 for down payments on homes. So
would that be the newcomers?
Well, exactly.
Would that be the policy?
Well, why not?
Be the
Exactly.
policy for newcomers to start new businesses for $50,000 tax subsidies.
After they get their after they get their gender transition surgery, they'll be available for a subsidy for their home. Then we'll give them all the other goodies that they're going to get. So they're in great shape.
But
legally.
She never said where the 25,000 was going to come from, but and she did say, I wrote down, over 30 million new homes. And I was like, wait a minute, what are you talking about? So she did say a few things, but Jeff, you're right. You went to the generalities that there was nothing new. Nothing new.
Nothing. Yeah. No specifics on how she's going to deal with the problems that she created. Mark, any final comments, my friend?
Yeah. She didn't say anything about policy of substance. Right. You know what I mean? Right. It was $50,000 to start a new business. It was giving away money, is what it was. $25,000 to people that want to buy a new house, which I'm sure it's going to be the illegals, and $6,000 for each immigrant child the first year. That's all it was. I didn't hear anything that would benefit the United States of America from that lady. How can you say anybody say she even held a light to Trump with what Trump had to say? I'm sorry, I just don't understand how people can't recognize what they're seeing.
There's another point that Mark raises, and a good one is Trump says facts and specifics about the Ukraine-Russian war. He's going to put an end to it. Okay. Right. Did she ever say that? Did she ever say how it was going to end? No. We're going to keep giving money.
We're going to stand with Ukraine. She said that Trump's going to just cave to Putin. She made a big deal over the fact she didn't meet with Putin, and he said she met with Putin. Putin wouldn't meet with her, basically. And I think Trump's point was good. She went over there to try to negotiate a deal. It failed miserably. He invaded a few days after. So she was a terrible negotiator. And also, of course, Putin saw that we were a paper tiger. He saw what happened in Afghanistan.
Exactly.
We didn't have a resolute leader. We got Creepy Joe and Cackling Kamala. Those are our leaders. Well, he should have reminded everyone that Kamala was the last person in the room when the Afghanistan debacle was made. She owns that as much as anybody.
4 days in a hotel room to prepare for this. And she never prepared for an answer on how to end the Ukraine-Russian war. She had no answer. She
The
had
answer
she
is
didn't-
they're just going to pump billions of dollars into
More money.
Ukraine so
Yeah.
that Ukraine can win. That's their answer. They want Ukraine to win.
and
Whatever that means, however long that takes, Jack.
she managed to memorize the two-state solution to solve the Gaza problem, which has been around forever and is not even relevant anymore. That's not going to do it. Anyway,
No. They have created a world in chaos, and as Trump was saying, a world that could be headed toward nuclear conflagration.
Sure.
And none of that existed when Trump was president. We had peace and prosperity, secure border, and that's got to be what the American people can understand. We've got to have people realize things were better under him. It's been a disaster under these people.
I remember this very well. Under Obama, Kim Jong-un of North Korea was launching rockets, was a maniac. And one of them was towards Hawaii. Okay, when Trump got in, now what did she say? You wrote love letters to him? He diffused North Korea.
Well, you know what that's called? It's called diplomacy.
Exactly.
You know what that's called? That's called being a peacemaker.
Right.
We used to love peacemakers.
Well, and
now
you can
we're
do
led
it.
by a bunch of neocon warmongers.
Well,
They just want war. We're the peacemakers. We've got one. Donald Trump.
Well,
we need a peacemaker back.
And the key is peace through strength.
And that's what Ronald Reagan taught us.
And that's what
And
Trump,
that's-
he does it.
Yeah.
That's what he does.
And that's-
What did he do in Syria? They had that civil war. They dropped chemical weapons on something. What did Trump do?
He bombed them.
He bombed them. He didn't call them and say, stop.
And you know what? You know who died in the bombing? Russian soldiers.
Yes.
Because they were there on behalf
And-
of the Syrian dictator.
Exactly.
So you do have a guy who stood up to Putin. He said no to the Nord Stream pipeline.
Yes.
He gave missiles to Ukraine. You know what Obama gave them? Blankets.
Right.
So, I mean, he was tough against Putin. So this whole myth that he's a puppet of Putin
That's silly.
needs to be dispelled. All right, let's go to Jay, who is with us in Covington. Hey, Jay, how are you? Good evening and welcome.
Good evening, Jeff and Jack.
Good evening.
Hi, Jay.
I'm going to declare myself a winner tonight. You know, if Kamala can do it, I can do it. And I'll tell you why. I had two TVs on. I went and worked out at the gym, and I had, I had several TVs on, but I focused myself on two of them. I have to give WWL credit. They were the only ones that went all the way through with the weather, and I have to say Francine and this hurricane distracted me. So I had the sound down on the debate because I disagree with you guys. That was not only 3 against 1. You had the 3 at NBC, the 3 at ABC.
Yeah.
You had the 3 at CNN. And the only reason why I didn't say CBS was because WWL did a great job with their weather hurricane, which deferred their to their sister station, WUPL, Channel 54. And it's because of that, you Donald Trump went, well, how many was that? 3, 6, 9, 12? 12 against 1. I mean, tell me things I don't know, because they were telling me things I already know. Please, guys, tell me things I don't know. And that's why I looked at the hurricane, because I don't know. These guys don't know anything. These people that are weather forecast, they don't know anything. How am I supposed to know something? That's why I gravitated
well, some of
to that.
these political analysts are about as good as the weather forecasters, Jay. So
They're worse.
You know, yeah.
But you know, I was now I did slip in, and I've heard you guys say, look, I'm at the first. I'm gonna hear you guys talk about it, and I'm gonna get my information from there for things I don't know. But what I didn't know that if this happened, I was waiting for Kamala to break out in song, some joy songs. And I'd sing for you, but I can't sing, and you'd kick me off the air if I sang anyway.
Well, we got to keep our listeners, Jay. That's our goal here.
That's a good idea, Jeff.
All right.
All right, but I'll just tell you, I like speakers. I like to teach the world to sing. If you can get that, I was waiting for her to do something like that.
All right.
I guess I was asking too much. I was too demanding.
Too much. Way too much. Yes.
But you know,
All right,
they didn't tell me anything I already knew. I'm voting for Trump. I mean, what?
Good.
Why do I need?
Well, see, and here's the deal: we got the 40% for Trump. We got the 40% for Harris. You know, it's always about the people in the middle. It's always about these independents. Always about these wishy-washy folks who go back and forth. Who, you know, the swing voters. So it's always a very small segment that turns the election around. I mean, these people in these 7 swing states are going to determine who the next president is. And it's a distressing situation, but it's the truth. But all right, my friend. Thank you, Jay. Appreciate you. 504-556-9696. Now, here's what my friend Martine wrote in from Augusta, Georgia, Jack. He not as optimistic as some of our folks. He said, Jeff, I'm writing this in the middle of the debate. We are screwed. Trump screwed up. He said it started to jump. He had an opportunity and blew it when David Muir, whatever you call his name, Muir, asked Kamala, are you better off now than 4 years ago? She never answered the question.
Right.
Trump should have immediately said, she didn't answer the question, but he did not. He got defensive. She had him on the ropes. Jeff, we are doomed. And then he said that Dick Morris commented and agreed with his assessment. He thinks Kamala won. Dick Morris.
He had better days. He had better days. I think he's trying to make himself relevant. I think it all depends on what you were looking for. It all depends on what you were looking for tonight.
Yes.
I thought that she had to crawl out of nothing. Remember, she hasn't given an interview. She hasn't done anything for 4 days. She's locked up in a hotel room, and this is the best she could do. This is the best. So I'm totally, I'm totally, I don't care. You can say she won or not. I don't care. I know in my heart, she can't do the job. She cannot do the job of being the president.
She would not be her own person. Whoever is, controlling her now would be controlling her as president. Trump is his own man. We do know that.
Right.
And nobody's going to control Trump.
So if she's elected president, is she going to have that entire staff of the 4 nights in the hotel follow her around and telling her what to do?
Yes, of course she is. All right. Let's go to our good friend, WGSO colleague, Ms. Martha Huckabee of Liberty or Lockdown. Hey, Martha, what's happening? Good evening.
I'm so glad I was able to get through. So there's 6 things that I learned tonight in this debate. President Trump, he raised the bar.
Yes.
And run, I'm speaking. Is it Kamala or Kamala or Kamala? I'm not sure, but anyway, failed the bar. Horseface worked at a bar. Nasty Nancy lives at the bar.
Yes.
Quid pro quo Joe. Keto Joe can't spell the bar. And Hillary should be behind the bars.
Outstanding. Well, I want to make a plug.
Amen.
I want to make a plug for Martha's show, Liberty and Lockdown, on Thursday nights. Was it 5 o'clock, right, Martha?
Yes. Thank you.
And because Martha came across and forwarded to me one of the most persuasive arguments and factual arguments that non-citizens are actually voting. It was what you sent from Wisconsin. And I hope on Thursday night you talk about it in great detail, where people get driver's licenses in Wisconsin if they're non-citizens. The Department of Transportation is supposed to notify the Wisconsin Election Commission of these people so that when they go to vote, they have a license, but they'll have a list. Well, in 2020, the Department of Transportation of Wisconsin never sent the list.
Yeah. We haven't
Yeah.
fixed the problems from 2020,
No.
Martha, as you know.
No.
And that's
No.
our worry as we face another election here.
And we face
And,
David
less than 2
Muir.
months.
David Muir, and these people are
Same.
so ill prepared.
Yeah.
Or they're
Well,
just liars. One or the
No,
other.
they're liars. They know
Yeah.
exactly that there was a stolen election. They're just liars. They know what's going on in Springfield, Ohio. They're lying. They know what's going on January 6th. They're lying. They know what's going on with Charlottesville. They're lying. They know
That's
the Project
right.
2025 is not Trump's. They're lying. They're just
Yes.
liars. And
The whole time.
they're working. They're in conjunction with the Democrats. They're like a machine. They're working
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's fake. Everything is scripted. It's she, you know,
correct.
she was rattled when he told her I'm speaking, and the first time he rattled her there. That was pretty good, but just everything she said is exactly what they're doing. They sure do know how to lie really, really well, and we as Christians, we need to keep praying for the Lord to just open up everybody's eyes and hearts to see the truth, and people really need to get out and vote. It's critical. And the do nothing Republicans, if the process happens again, what happened in 2020, because they're denying that the election was stolen still. If we continue to not do our part, we'll see this election being stolen in the middle of the night. They're going to do the same process with the ballot boxes, the harvesting, everything. It's going to repeat. And but this time they're going to replace the black vote with the illegal Hispanic vote. They're doing it. It's happening right before our very eyes. So America, he had an angry face because he's angry because our nation is being stolen from us right before our very eyes. I'm angry too. It's not a laughing matter. It's
And they
a very
almost killed him.
serious matter.
Yeah, he was inches away from being killed.
Yes, that's right. And his life, he's put on the
How
line
interesting.
for us.
How interesting. This debate, no one asked the question about the assassination attempt.
I know.
Not a
He
single
had to
question.
mention it. He had
4
to
years
mention, I
ago?
took a shot. I got shot for y'all.
He had to bring it up.
Yeah, they didn't ask a question. That's kind of amazing when you think about it.
Yeah.
No, it happened less than 2 months ago.
Right.
And they're not talking about it. Yep. They want it to go away. They don't want to talk about it.
And I like how
Yeah.
he ended it. He said, why hadn't she done what she said she was going to do?
Sure.
She's been in there the last 3.5 years, and she hasn't done any of that. He said, we have a failing nation, and we're being laughed at around the world. He said that. He said, we're going to end up in a third world war. She gave our weapons and our military equipment away to the Taliban.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
That's how it ended. And they didn't, and he had the last word. So I thought he won the debate.
Good. All right. Well, we've got you down. All right. Well, Martha, you're a winner. Thank you. And everybody check out Liberty or Lockdown Thursday at 5 right here on WGSO. Another WGSO colleague joining us. Our good friend, host of the Holy and Patriotic Jambalaya show, and that's Fridays at 5, the Flaming Conservative. Hey, John Swisher, how are you?
Good evening, King Jeff Carrere and King Jack Clegg.
How you doing?
Martha hit the nail on the head.
She did.
Yes.
Did you hear Kamala headboard knee pads talk about she wants to give $50,000 tax credits to new startup businesses? How about instead of them sending money to our adversaries, why don't they give people like us trying to start businesses a $50,000 grant? I mean, if we would create jobs for legal, hardworking Americans.
Well, let me say this about the government giving money to people to start businesses or to pay them for their losses during COVID. It's a failure. It's not the role of the government to do that. We've had so much money stolen from us by people who made applications under COVID policies to give them money. We know these people didn't have businesses, but they took the money. So
Well,
this
there's-
is the more
yeah.
of the same. This is a
Waste.
promise. It's sort of like making the promise to the students that we're going to forgive your debt. This
And
is
I'm glad Trump got that in as
Yeah.
well. He had to work that in. He had to work in a lot of issues because they didn't ask about it because they were talking about race,
Right.
January 6th, elections, and abortion, of course.
Of course.
All right, Flaming Conservative, we got to roll, but thank you, my friend.
Thanks, John.
Yes, sir. Call tomorrow morning, and let's do one more. We'll get the final word to Brian in Metairie. Good evening, sir.
Gentlemen, good evening. I sure pray the good Lord bless you and your family. After what I listened to on the radio on Kamala Harris, would you have eaten a hamburger she made at McDonald's with the wrong order of French fries?
No.
I rest my case.
That's another
Be safe
lie.
Getting home.
Outstanding. Outstanding.
Thank you, Brian.
What an
That's, a
exclamation
good one.
mark. What a great exclamation mark on the entire night.
And I'm glad he brought that up. That's another thing she lied about. There's no evidence that she worked at McDonald's. I think that's totally fabricated.
You know, if she worked at a McDonald's, you know how many people at McDonald's would say, "Oh, this woman, I work with her. I work with her." Not a soul has come
Right.
forward. No one.
Because
It's
it was
not true.
It was a lie, and there's so much built into her campaign and Joe's. So we're at the very end. Jack, it's been a real pleasure. So any final comments you want to share?
The only thing I want to say is, if you think she won, wait about 48 hours. The fact that she wants another debate tells me she knows she lost, and this was her chance, and she didn't perform.
She failed to get Trump rattled.
Yes.
She failed to get Trump yelling expletives at her. That was, I think, what she wanted. She
Right.
wanted him to say some kind of comment like, "You're a nasty woman," or something like that.
Sure.
And she was the one who talked over him. And then he was able to say, "I'm speaking." So, all right. Very good points, Jack Clegg. Thank you, my friend. Thanks to Jack, Mr. Jack, our fine producer tonight. And thanks to all of you for joining us here on the airwaves on WGSO. Programming note, we'll be with you in the morning for Ringside Politics 7 to 9, and then we'll be doing weather broadcasting after that as we hunker down for this storm coming through. So prayers to everyone for your preparations, and we'll see you in the morning for more right here on WGSO. Have a good evening, everyone.